If you're here, I assume you have decided to partner with a CRO agency to optimize your store. And now you might be finding yourself having a difficult time looking for the best option. What's the best CRO agency there to partner with? And this is very common because you might just be unsure of what would be qualifying as the best for you. And if that's the case, then you're in the right place because today we're going to dive deep into this essential topic for e-commerce entrepreneurs as they scale. Who are the right agency partners for me? How do I select those, etc. So in this video, we will talk about the key considerations that you should look out for when selecting an agency to hire for you. And later on, I will also share red flags to watch out for. And this is all based on my 9 years of experience in the CRO game. But before we dive in, I myself, Samuel Larsen, founder of CRO Gurus, where I run a team of 6 specialists and work with a couple dozen of mostly 7-figure stores, optimizing their storefronts for conversion and average order value. If you are running a successful store, looking to take it to the next level, then best thing you can do is to get in touch with me. You can book a call. The link is in the description. So let's get started with the pointers. The number one pointer is simply a platform specialization. So if you don't understand the platform as an agency, you cannot really work with it, at least not effectively. So if you use a very specific platform, say you also have a complicated setup, such as a highly customized Shopify or Magento store, then I recommend you look out for an agency who's experienced with those setups to ensure the seamless integration and optimization for you. And while CRO itself is different for each platform, it's still CRO, but each platform has their features and nuances that are different from others. So that's why it's best to pick an agency that specializes in whichever platform you're using. And this is, of course, not always possible because e-commerce specialization is more important, but it's important, especially if you're looking to launch and run a lot of tests. So they should also be tech savvy enough to handle all this behind the scenes testing and tweaks without messing up your site's user experience. And when it comes to running this program, the platform familiarity helps a lot. So I would say that the right agency for you, they would combine the know-how and smooth execution to help you then see real results without too many technical headaches, because you have already so much on your plate. So just as an example, at Gurus, 90% of our clients are on Shopify. So if you are running a WooCommerce store, or say you are on a PrestaShop setup, then likely not the best option for you. However, on Shopify then, we know every theme and app that goes into it in a way that a general agency just simply cannot, because it's too much for them to know all of these platforms. All right, then beyond the technical expertise, I would say industry expertise and competence matters as well. So you have the ability to do this from a technical perspective, and then you have the expertise to know this from the expertise perspective. So pick an agency that really gets your industry or has worked with something close to it. So if you have a very specific niche, you don't need them to have experience from that very specific niche, but there should be some similarities in their past. They have been able to show that they can make it happen for similar stores, similar setups, etc. So from those, they know the target audience a little bit better than they would otherwise, which helps so much on the early stages of the engagement. And of course, if you have an agency that has a history of getting great results for similar stores, then you'd be more likely to get those results yourself. The likelihood of results goes up. So spy on them a little bit, check out their case studies, testimonials, success stories for proof, and then you can judge whether this might be a good option for you. You can usually assess their competency pretty well from the website, but you can also ask detailed questions, of course, about their approach for specifically testing and implementation, but also I would say problem solving and how they would generally ensure that things will run smoothly without disrupting your experience as the client. Number 3, this is the customized and comprehensive approach. So avoid agencies that rely solely on best practices or have a very unique set of qualifications. So For example, if you have an agency that only focuses on UX, UI, or copywriting, you might be looking at the problem very narrowly. So you hit the narrow framing trap. And then it is a case of if you have a hammer, every problem will look like a nail. So these specific specialized agencies will just try their one way for solving every problem, but your problem may not be on that area. So quality CRO agency, they'll be able to analyze your data and unique challenges and then design a strategy tailored to your goals. And they do this taking into account whatever your store needs. It's very customized from that perspective. So look for agencies that are offering services like A/B testing, user research, UX UI design, and of course, ongoing optimization and testing to ensure that you get the whole package, not just some limited part of it. Then communication and collaboration. So we'll be looking at this from the engagement perspective, but there's the agency and then there's you. And here, if the communication and collaboration is painful, then it's going to undermine everything. It's going to drag you and it's going to cause you to not be able to focus as much on the other parts of the company because there's a lot still that you need to do beyond just conversion and optimization. So this agency should clearly be able to explain its process. This is from data collection, hypothesis creation, testing and implementation. Should be able to show you what it looks like from the deliverables perspective. And then have a clear and consistent communication with you agreed upon beforehand. What will happen when? And then you'll be able to watch that this happens exactly as told. So the right CRO agency, they'll focus on transparency and collaboration. And they do this by providing regular and timely updates to keep you informed about the progress and the adjustments needed. You can think of it as a recurring loop. So there's going to be some recurrence on your, say, monthly engagements that are always going to be the same. And then there's going to be some custom parts additional. So an agency like this would transparently report and break down, for example, the testing results, of course, key metrics, insights, all of this stuff that helps you to understand the impact that they're making. So they're not hiding from those KPIs. And additionally, they create opportunities for you to give feedback. So this could be, for example, scheduled meetings or open communication channels to align the efforts with your goals consistently, because e-commerce is such a dynamic business that these might change very quickly. And of course, they'd be able to address any concerns promptly. Kind of think of it as kill the monster while it's little. So to put it simply, they will always have the initiative to let you know what's happening and what is going to happen at every step. Before we continue with the rest of this, kindly like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll provide you more helpful e-commerce tips for merchants just like yourself. And if you want to connect, just message me on WhatsApp or book a call. There's links in the description below. Number 5. This is the last part, but I think one of the most important, because so far we've discussed what you get, but this is about what you give. What is the drawback of this? Of course, there's two kinds of investments. You have your time and attention cost. So with that, you could be doing something else, but there's also, of course, the monetary part. So budget and pricing models. So for CRO, this can vary widely, and you have all kinds of different engagements, from flat fees to hourly rates to performance-based pricing. And often expertise is costly. It's not always costly, but it tends to correlate with cost. So this is not something that you'd necessarily want to just look at from a pure cost perspective, but you want to calculate the potential investment returns. So think of it in terms of return on investment and try to understand that between your different partner options. So when comparing agencies, an agency that is thinking in terms of return on investment will be able to calculate these return on investment scenarios for you and go over them with you. So this way, you can clearly see how much you're expecting to make based on a couple of different scenarios. And then you can judge whether this makes sense for you, because it is a purely money-based decision at the end of the day. You're looking to make your business more valuable. And here, one thing to keep in mind is that CRO can also get pretty complicated, because it's all about understanding how users interact with your site and figuring out what will push them to take action. So it is an in-depth study of human behavior when it comes to your specific situation and circumstances. And also, it's such a multi-dimensional field involving analysis of data, running tests, tweaking designs or features, etc. That takes a mix of skills. So UX design, analytics, technical know-how, etc., etc., etc. So this is more about that holistic stack rather than just how your website happens to look. In any case, you might want to take note that partnering with a quality CRO agency would cost you a fair bit because they bring a broad range of expertise and in-depthness to the table, plus, of course, advanced tools and resources to optimize your store effectively. So here, be prepared to invest if you want to take your store to the next level. So those are the 5 pointers. I promised you at the beginning of the video that I would also share some red flags. So before I summarize these 5 pointers, again, for your recollection memory, I'll list out the red flags. And the red flags are often the inverse of what to look out for. So be cautious of agencies that make unrealistic promises. These could be overnight results, etc., that just happen without a clear strategy. So we can improve your site. That's basically what every beginner thinks. They haven't been humbled by expertise. Then also you'd want to be very careful about companies that don't provide transparency in their pricing or strategy. If it's difficult to understand, there might be a reason for it. They may not understand it that well themselves, so you want to be careful. You can also see this often in the pitch phase, where if you compare a couple, there's just going to be kind of holes in their approach that you can see. Then watch out for agencies that overcommit and claim to excel at everything. So this would be agencies that do web development, SEO, paid ads, CRO, or like multiple things. And that can be a little bit of, okay, are you really a specialized expert in all of these? So this would be a massive indication of a lack of focus or specialization. I can understand that it's easy and attractive for merchants to go for these kinds of engagements because then you can just have it all under one roof. But if you have a bunch of individual pieces under one roof that aren't going to be top notch, then you just end up with very mediocre results. In today's competitive e-commerce environment, that's not going to work very well. I call these we do that to agencies. Kind of gives you an idea. Next, you'd want to avoid agencies that overemphasize the best practices. There's, of course, the best practice audit that you can do. That is often the simplest, cheapest thing that you can buy from CRO agencies. I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about overemphasis on best practices when it comes to their more extensive programs. Because this is an indicator that they're not data-driven and they cannot tailor their approach based on what your store actually needs. Next, we have limited research and testing approach. So if it looks like they come in with the attitude of know-it-all, then it's likely going to be very limited in terms of in-depthness. And this program will fizzle out very quickly because they are not building it long-term. They're just looking to do some quick best practices and then they don't know what else to do. So if an agency skips or minimizes things like user research, they are likely relying on guesswork and kind of blindly shooting darts at the board. So effective CRO involves tools like heat mapping, user journeys, and A/B testing to make informed decisions if possible. So those are the red flags. Now, in summary, here are the 5 pointers that I talked about. Platform specialization, industry expertise and technical competence, including niche understanding or a similar niche understanding. Number 3, customized and comprehensive approach. So they should be able to know beyond best practice. Number 4, communication and collaboration, including transparency. And lastly, we have the budget and pricing model. So that's the 5 pointers. In conclusion, I hope at this point I've helped you identify and learn some of the key considerations when it comes to picking the right CRO agency. Because investing in a CRO agency or CRO in general will for sure provide a scalable approach to optimizing your store. I don't want you to get burned by some bad agencies and then spread the word that the CRO doesn't work, because it does. But we want to be careful about these steps and take a note of the pointers shared, apply them, think through them consciously when you're selecting your agency partner. And lastly, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more tips on how you can succeed as an e-commerce merchant. Or better yet, if you wish to let us help you grow your store, you can book a call by clicking in the link in the description below me or message me via WhatsApp. Thank you very much for watching and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.